Welcome back, everybody, to part two of our drivers' press conference here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Joining us now, we have Lance Stroll, Esteban Ocon, and Oscar Piastri. Oscar, why don't we start with you? Now, the team said on Sunday night that they were going to look at all the data to see what could have been done differently to steal the win in Japan. What conclusions have been reached?
Qualifying ahead of Max was probably the key to that. Yeah, I mean, we looked through it. I mean, I think it was pretty clear to see that you needed a very big pace advantage to overtake on Sunday, and I think, you know, the best way to overcome that is, like I said, qualifying a bit better. But I think even in the race, we were pretty limited with what we could do. You know, I think we've spoken through a lot of the potential different scenarios we could have found ourselves in, and what we actually could have done differently. And I think the conclusion from all of those was there was either a big element of risk with not much chance of reward. So I think, you know, there was still some things that we could have done a little bit differently to try. And I think as a team we acknowledge that. But I think also just putting into perspective how early we are in the season, and not giving away points unnecessarily to people behind us was important as well. So yeah, we've gone through a lot of things, but ultimately I think our conclusion was make sure you qualify where you should be.
And is the team now having to take the threat of Red Bull more seriously than it was a week ago, or was Japan just a particular set of circumstances and a brilliant qualifying lap from Max Verstappen?
I don't think it changes much. I think, you know, we have the quickest car at the moment, but it's, you know, our advantage is not enough to be careless and kind of, you know, lay back and not execute as best as you can, because I think, you know, we saw Melbourne was a very strong weekend for us, but we also got the most out of the car, and both of us, I felt, drove very well. I think China, you know, in the sprint, in sprint qualifying weren't on pole, and, you know, I think in China and Japan have both showed that, you know, it doesn't take much to go wrong for us to not be at the front. And I think, you know, we have an advantage in the race for sure. I think qualifying, you have to still be on it because the gap is not much still. And as we saw in Japan, it doesn't, you know, Max put in a good performance and it was enough to be better than us. So I think that's, yeah, kind of just another demonstration that it's going to be tight the whole year. And yeah, we've got to be on our best form.
This race is going to be tougher on tyres. Do you see that as playing to your advantage? Do you think you'll be stronger here relative to Japan?
Hard to know. I think Melbourne, especially on the Inters, was a very good race and good show of pace, but like you said, managing the tyres. I think, you know, Japan, if we had track position, potentially the race could have looked quite different. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. You know, obviously it's very hot today. I think Sunday's supposed to be a little bit cooler, but I think it being a little bit more difficult on tyres and a bit warmer probably will be more friendly for us than others, I hope.
Oh, final one from me. Looking further ahead, McLaren have just announced that they're going back to sports car racing in 2027. Do you fancy a crack at Le Mans one day?
One day, but not for a while. I'm pretty happy in F1 at the moment.
Could you do it in combination with F1?
I don't think so. I don't think you do either championship justice by trying to juggle both. I think, you know, maybe for the F1, it's probably actually not that detrimental to your F1 championship, but when you've got a lot at stake, as we do right now, and also, you know, just not giving Le Mans the respect it deserves from a, you know, preparation standpoint, I think that is not something you want to go into, you know, with being underprepared. So I'll wait until I'm done what I want to do in F1, and then I'll think about letting Zach have me, give me a burn in around Le Mans.
All right, thank you, and good luck this weekend. On that theme, Esteban, you fancy a crack at Le Mans one day? You've now got Ferrari power. Fancy a Ferrari hypercar?
Not quite yet, no. One day, definitely. You know, it's, I think, the dream of every driver, you know, to race at Le Mans one day. But yeah, as Oscar said, you know, I'm very focused on my Formula One career at the moment, and looking at how many races we have, it's going to be quite complicated, you know, to mix it all together. You can't do half-half, you know, you need full implication on both, and yeah, that's where my head is at the moment.
Well, let's talk Formula One. It's been a bit of a roller coaster start for Haas this year when you think of what happened in Melbourne, then the high of China, and then wasn't so easy last time out in Japan. Can you just give us your summary of where the car is at the moment?
Yeah, I think we have good potential. You know, we just need to be able to unlock it every single time, and being able, you know, to optimize, you know, the car around every track. You know, Melbourne was extremely difficult and quite a shock for all of us in the team. But, you know, we've managed to get some good performance out of China, and the car suddenly came alive. It's been more difficult again in Suzuka. This is what we are working on, obviously, at the moment, to try and figure it out. But yeah, here it's more the home of Formula One. You know, we've done 3 days of testing. There's a lot of learning, you know, that has been done. There are things that we are going to continue testing on our side as well. But, you know, it's going to be an interesting weekend, and we'll see where we end up.
How much confidence do you have coming into this weekend, given how the tests went in February? Yeah,
we will see, you know, after Friday. I think, you know, it's a very difficult circuit for many reasons. You know, it's a very rough track, the roughest of the whole calendar. There are a lot of traction zones. You know, it's going to be interesting to see if what we've done in testing is going to actually work, you know, when everyone goes flat out. So on Friday, we'll have a bigger picture. But, you know, it doesn't tell the whole story, I think, still, because it's so far out compared to every other tracks that, you know, what we've done earlier in the year is more common than this one.
Carlos Sainz was in Group 1, and he spent some time telling us about the difficulties of changing team. Can we just get your experiences of moving from Alpine to Haas? What have been the most difficult learnings for you?
Yeah, there's a lot going on for sure. It's not an easy task, but you know, I feel the team, you know, welcomed me in the best way possible, and you know, we've put a lot of hours in the winter and in testing, you know, to be able to adapt to every scenario before we got to race. I think now, you know, I'm pretty well integrated in the team. There's still a lot of learning, and you know, on where to optimize the car exactly on my side, but. You know, I think it has been pretty straightforward and what we needed. And yeah, I really, you know, wanted to arrive into the first couple of races and not feel like I forgot or went through something that we just missed, basically, in terms of preparation. And I think, you know, on that side, the team has done a great job in preparing me to be ready.
All right, thank you for that. And Lance, let's come to you now. Very, very strong opening couple of rounds for you, P6 and P9 in those opening 2 races. From the outside, it looks like you're driving that car with a lot of confidence. How does it feel on the inside?
Yeah, some good results to start the season for sure. I think it depends the weekends. Some weekends you get into a good groove with the balance and what the car's doing, you know, from the first lap of the weekend. Other weekends, you know, conditions, this and that. You know, it sometimes is a different story, but yeah, it was good to pick up some good results those first few races. Japan a little bit more difficult, but we'll see what we can do this weekend.
In terms of performance, do you feel this is a more stable platform on which to build?
I think we've improved the car for sure, but no one stands still in this business. Everyone is, you know, always bringing upgrades and making the car faster. So it's a relative game. We still need to find more performance. We're not where we want to be. So yeah, that's what we're focused on.
And on the subject of dealing with new things. Esteban's just talked about it. As I said, Carlos Sainz was talking about it earlier. You've got a new race engineer this year, Gary Gannon, from Haas actually, last year. How are you two rubbing along? How does it compare to what you had before?
Yeah, it's been good. Gary has a lot of experience. He's been really great on the comms, and has brought new kind of ideas to my mind, and has some different thoughts around setup and areas to focus on. So I think it's been good, and I've definitely enjoyed working with him.
All right, thanks to all three. Let's now open this to the broadcasters first of all. David, I think you're ready. Yep.
Yeah, David Croft, Sky Sports F1. A question to Oscar. We're only at round 4. There's a long way to go this season, or is there? Because if you believe Red Bull, this season's going to change quite dramatically for McLaren come the Spanish Grand Prix. So is that just scaremongering from your nearest rival, or do you as a driver fear that things might change a little bit when those deflection tests get stiffened up?
I'm pretty confident we'll be strong all year. I don't think it'll change too much. I've not spoken to the team about it massively, in all honesty, which probably tells you enough about that. So yeah, I mean, let's see when we get to Spain, but we've still got a lot of races until then, and I think we'll be a strong team all year round.
Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, Nelson.
Question for all three of you. Given the high temperatures this weekend, we expect to reach temperatures over 30 degrees when we drive. Are you completely ready and comfortable with the new driver cooling vest and system that has been developed?
Who'd like to start with that? Oscar?
No, is the answer. I think it still has a bit of fine-tuning to go. I think it's been a good process with the FIA and the manufacturers with the cooling system, and I think it will be a big positive for us. But for me personally, it's not quite ready to be used. I think there's been a lot of good work going on, but I think Sunday, given it's a night race and it looks a bit cooler on Sunday, I'm not sure we'll actually trigger the heat hazard that the FIA have anyways. So I think if you want to use it, it will come with a weight penalty on Sunday. So I think there's still some work to go, but it's going in the right direction.
Similar answer to Oscar. No. I think it's a very good initiative, that the FIA has done for us to be able to, fix some of the issues we had in Qatar a couple of years ago. I think it's a good initiative, but unfortunately, I can't quite use it at the moment. The way the seats are designed and the way some of the vest is very different to what we are currently using. It's much more bulky and a lot bigger. We would need to basically redo a complete seat, and I'm not even sure with doing that it would be still suitable in corners. So good initiative, but I think they need a bit more thoughts behind it, or from our side as well, on how we could accommodate it better. I think this week will be okay. Next week we're looking with Lance earlier on the weather forecast. Might be another story, so we might have to use it next week. Let's see.
Lance, please.
Yeah, I think the same. It still needs some work. That's the reality. Just depends how desperate you are, to be cool in the car. I think, it's going to come down to that in the really hot races. If the product doesn't improve, it's not very comfortable, but get a few degrees out of it, so we'll see.
All right, thanks all. Yeah, next one, Mara.
Mara San Giorgio, Sky Sport Italy. A question to Oscar. Oscar, some days ago, Max said that driving your car in Suzuka, he would escape away. How did you read his statement? Just a joke, cheeky joke?
I mean, yes, but I think if Max had have qualified third and we were first and second, it probably would have looked quite different as well. So, I don't think it was. Yeah, I think it was lighthearted, but yeah, I think qualifying made a very big difference, and I don't think it's normal to have two cars sitting 2 seconds behind the leader for 50 laps. So I think it was kind of clear to see that our car was quicker, but yeah, I think the gaps would have been quite different if we had been the other way around from the start as well.